Hi guys. I thought I'd speak today about women in technology and the underrepresentation of women in technology. In almost every single country in the world, there is a huge discrepancy between the number of men versus the number of women in almost every tech sector across the board. And there's so much that we can speak about around how you actually attract women into the tech sectors, how you retain women once they are in there. And there are many reasons why women don't even consider tech careers to start off with. And that's not what I want to talk to you about today. Today, I want to talk about how you actually retain women once they are in the sector, once they've gone through the relevant training and they've actually applied for a job and successfully landed a job. And how do you keep them in there? Because the number of women that graduate with tech degrees or finish boot camp schools, for example, is very high compared to the actual number of women who remain in the industry. So we lose a lot of women along the way, and we actually have to ask ourselves, what is it that makes women to drop out of the tech careers, and how can we actually retain women within these careers. I remember it was probably a year or two ago, I was speaking at a conference around this issue, and some men afterwards came to me and said, so, but what must we do? How do I actually retain women in my organization if they want to leave? What is it that I'm doing wrong, or what is it can I implement in order to retain women in the industry? And it's something that I'm always thinking about because obviously I'm not a recruitment professional or an HR professional, but I did come across an interesting research that was done by the AnitaB.org Foundation, which is the organization that hosts the Grace Hopper celebration for women in computer science. And they've actually done a lot of studies in this area. So I thought it would be interesting to share what they said, that people can actually do what we as tech founders or as employers of women in the tech industry can do to actually retain women. This study that I read actually said that women leave tech careers or tech jobs at twice the rate at which men do. So, if you think about that, there's already much fewer women in the industry than men, and the rate at which they actually quit not only the job but the entire industry is at twice the rate of men. So this specific study cited that 30% of women leave the industry because of working conditions. So that's a lack of advancement opportunities, working hours that were not suitable for them, and also a low salary, which is interesting because some of the most highly paid people actually work in tech. Then 27% of the respondents to the study said that they were leaving the industry due to work life commitment issues where there was too much travel, or they wanted to spend more time with their families, or just the working hours and the working conditions didn't fit into the kind of lifestyle that they wanted to have with their families. And 22% of the respondents said that they left the industry because they lost interest in the work that they were doing. They either didn't like the work that they're doing, or over time, due to a lack of advancement opportunities or new challenges, they actually lost interest in the work, and they were leaving because they no longer enjoyed the kind of work that they were doing. Then 17% of the respondents said that they didn't like the organizational climate. So they either didn't like the boss, they didn't like the culture, they didn't enjoy the culture, or they didn't like the way that they were interacting with their coworkers, to the point that they decided to leave their jobs. And as we're all fighting for top talent, and there's a huge demand for technical experts to fill vacancies in the market, I think at the moment we have more vacancies than technically able people to fill these jobs. there really is a huge need for leadership in the sector to be able to retain not just women but all kinds of people across the board, and to ensure that all the work environments actually support diversity of thoughts, diversity of culture, diversity of language, ethnicity, and so on. So there's a need for leadership and top managers to be held accountable for retention. And this is something that needs to be built into managers' KPIs in terms of retention and how are they retaining different people in the organization. And organizations need to actually report on retention, on talent retention, and have leadership being held accountable to those standards. We also need to look at corporate culture and how the corporate culture actually allows for innovation and is actually built for innovation. So, does the corporate culture allow for diversity of thoughts, diversity of ideas from different people? And we need to do diversity training that focuses on awareness, raising awareness around micro inequalities and also individual biases. And to add on to the corporate culture, there needs to be opportunities that give people who don't fit the typical role profile in certain job spaces to be given adequate opportunities for development and also for visibility to the greater organization. Then organizations also need to fund and support networks and communities so that women are able to attend workshops, events, and conferences which focus on career paths, experiences, and challenges so that they are able then to see what opportunities exist in these industries and what other alternatives exist for them within the sector. Employers can also establish mentoring and coaching programs to support women, as well as create employee resource groups, which can be a peer to peer supportive groups where women can learn from each other and also learn from other peers who are allies and supportive to women in the workplace. Nowadays, we should also implement policies as well as infrastructure that can allow for integration of work life balance as well as allow women to have flexible working arrangements. So those are just a couple of things that we can consider doing in the tech space to ensure that we not only attract women, but we're able to retain the women that do choose tech careers. And hopefully, as the years progress, we'll be able to see an increase in the number of women that join the tech sector and an increase in the women who choose to stay.